Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian. Of course, we're here today looking at Battlefield 1. There's been a ton of hype, an immense amount of hype, too much hype perhaps, and a lot of people want to know what I think of the game. So, I have it here. I have it installed on my computer, which is not up to the minimum required specifications of the game, but to its credit, it does actually run smoothly for me, just with a graphics level of detail that is well below what it would be on any proper gaming computer. Now, what I'm going to say about the game in the rest of this video is in some places a bit harsh and critical, and in some ways that makes me feel bad to say. I have actually met a bunch of the guys at EA DICE in LA, and they were, without exception, very cool people. And I know that they put a ton of work into this game. And on a technical level, I think what they have created is excellent. They built a really good computer game. But it might not be the computer game that everybody wants. So let's get into it. So what EA has created here is an arcade game, not a combat simulator. Now I know some people are going to say, that's really obvious. But I think a lot of people don't necessarily recognize the difference. Because this game does, on the surface, look like World War I. It's set in beautiful World War I places, and the guys are all wearing World War I uniforms, and the guns are, at least by name, World War I guns. The problem is, once you scratch the surface, even just a little bit, you realize that this is a one-man Rambo arcade game. And it is in no way representative of the World War I experience. Now, yeah, I get that no computer game ever is truly going to be representative of a combat experience, but you know what? Some do a lot better than others. So, in every situation where the reality of World War I firearms conflicts with the strict goals of a Rambo arcade game like this, the decision has been made to abandon reality and go with the Rambo mode. For example, World War I guns don't shoot fast enough. If you're limited to the true rate of fire of a World War I bolt-action rifle, there are a lot of gamers that are just going to be annoyed and upset and frustrated because they can't shoot enough fast enough. So, the majority of the player classes in this game get machine guns, or submachine guns, or if they have to be equipped with bolt-action rifles, they're going to cycle far faster than anything really would. Sights on World War I guns are small. They kind of suck to use compared to today's red dots. So what's the solution for that? Well, you can either give them sights where you don't need the sights because you just have a crosshair on the screen, like this, or you can give them what are, for all practical purposes, red dot sights, and, you know, kind of say that, well, they're based on some experimental actual World War I thing. But the upshot is, you're effectively putting red dots on guns. Things are chosen for what looks cool instead of what's historically correct. In a number of cases, for example, the Lewis light machine gun gets a German scope. The British Enfield sniper rifle gets totally the wrong kind of scope, put in the wrong place that would never work, and to make things weirder, they decide to put a Schutzen-style front grip on it, for no reason that I can come up with, other than some designer thought that it looked neat. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say that the details don't really matter. The guns don't have to be perfectly accurate. Yes, it's an arcade game, that's fine. It's still valuable because it's getting people interested in World War I who might not have been otherwise. People who may not have even known World War I existed, for goodness sake. And isn't it a good thing if they can play this game and then it spurs them to learn more about the war? Yes, I think that is a good thing. However, what concerns me is that the very nature of Battlefield 1 is completely the polar opposite of the true reality of World War I. Battlefield 1 is built on this notion of individual heroism, and that one man goes through these campaigns and saves the world, basically. You know, defeats all enemies. In reality, World War I was exactly the opposite. If you read memoirs from World War I, like those of Ernst Junger and Louis Bartas, what you really understand about the war is that the individual was reduced to meaninglessness in World War I. It was a truly inhuman, mechanized juggernaut of a conflict, where one man in a suit of armor with a machine gun like this would not have charged up the mountain to save his dying comrade. Instead, he would have gotten hit by an artillery shell that he never saw coming, and he would have died before he even got to the front lines. That's how World War I actually worked. And I'm concerned about such a fundamental misrepresentation of the war, perhaps doing more harm than good. I wonder if there won't be more people who take that lesson from the game than those who actually use the game as inspiration to go learn more about reality. So, am I overthinking this? Am I making this out to be way more of a philosophical, issue than it ought to be? Sure, possibly, maybe even probably. And if you want a fun arcade game, sure, try out Battlefield 1. Don't take these graphics as standard, because this computer might as well be a potato. But it's a really good game in its context. What it is not is anything having to do with World War I. So if this sort of gameplay looks like your kind of thing, looks like fun and you enjoy this, absolutely buy Battlefield 1. The guys at EA and DICE put a tremendous amount of effort into it, and it shows on a technical level. They did a really good job of it. If you're looking for realism, I think it should be pretty clear by now that that's not what you're going to get in Battlefield 1. It's not what they were looking to make. It's not what the market wants. So it's not what you got. Of course, if you're looking for realism, I would suggest giving Verdun a look, or perhaps consider that maybe video games aren't your thing, because there's never going to be, well, not until we get into some really cool VR stuff, there's never going to be a really particularly good combat simulator on the mass market. So, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you sticking with me through here, and I think now we're going to go back to looking at proper, real historical guns.